You already know this truth. The most dangerous wars are not fought with swords or missiles, they are fought with intelligence. And right now, India is doing exactly that. What you're about to hear has sent shockwaves through the world's largest navy, the Chinese Navy. China is nervous. Its naval bases are uneasy. And most importantly, Chinese warship captains are quietly admitting something stunning. If India's gray zone counter continues, don't even think about war. So here's the big question. How can the world's largest navy, with hundreds of warships, be afraid of India? Let's break it down. Why China should feel confident, but isn't. China commissions 13 to 14 new warships every single year. That relentless pace has made the People's Liberation Army Navy the largest navy on the planet by sheer numbers. More ships, more steel, more firepower. And yet, China is backing off. Why? Because numbers don't win modern conflicts. Control does. And India has mastered something China fears the most. The gray zone counter strategy. What is gray zone counter? Gray zone counter means no declared war, no peace, yet the enemy is forced to retreat. It's warfare without bullets, pressure without provocation, victory without headlines. Ironically, this was China's own favorite playbook. For years, China avoided direct war by sending Coast Guard vessels instead of warships, using fishing militias as civilians, applying constant pressure while staying below the war threshold. China created situations where there was no war, but also no peace. India studied this strategy patiently, quietly, and then India did something brilliant. It flipped China's own tactic against China, India's strategic masterstroke. India didn't choose missiles. India didn't choose confrontation. India chose control. Under India's grey zone counter doctrine, the Navy, the Coast Guard, the Air Force are fused into a single command chain. This creates constant pressure without ever firing the first shot. Chinese warships are shadowed, pushed out of contested waters, forced to reposition again and again. And here's the genius part. China gets no excuse to start a war, no shots fired, no red line crossed. Yet China keeps losing space. How India makes warships feel unsafe without attacking grey zone counter isn't about destruction. It's about denying operational freedom. India does this by appearing suddenly, then vanishing, creating radar confusion, sending deceptive signals, disrupting situational awareness, forcing Chinese captains to question every move. The result? Every Chinese warship commander thinks, is this area safe, or am I being watched right now? That uncertainty is deadly, because a warship that feels unsafe cannot dominate the sea. This is why China can't sleep. Chinese naval captains know one thing now. Their ships may be powerful, but they are never comfortable. That psychological pressure is what's keeping Beijing awake at night. And now comes the real nightmare for China. India is exporting this strategy. India is now training the Philippine Navy in grey zone counter tactics. Let that sink in. This is not missile training, not artillery drills, not weapon sales. This is knowledge transfer, the most dangerous kind. India is teaching how to push an enemy out of the sea without firing a shot, without triggering a war. Along with this comes another lethal concept: sea denial, India's silent weapon. Sea denial means don't attack the enemy. Make the sea unlivable for them. Create conditions where the enemy captain constantly thinks, staying here is too risky. No explosions. No declarations, just strategic suffocation. China may have more ships, but India knows how to take away control. Why Beijing is panicking. According to reports from the South China Morning Post, China didn't even want India and the Philippines to conduct joint exercises. India went ahead anyway. Now training is coming next. Inside the Chinese Navy, discussions are growing louder. If India's grey zone counter spreads to the Philippines, Vietnam, other Southeast Asian nations, then China's dominance in the South China Sea collapses without a single battle. No war, no missiles, no casualties, just retreat. The world is watching and learning what's shocking. The world isn't India's firepower. It's India's discipline, patience, and strategic intelligence. India is proving something historic. True power isn't what you show. True power is what makes your enemy afraid to stay. India's grey zone counter has become exactly that power. Final message to China. Find a counter to India's grey zone strategy. Or forget about war altogether. Because this time, India isn't fighting battles. India is controlling the battlefield.